Porter delivered for the fans, and now I would like to see Crawford Spence, as would the world, but we won't get it for now.
Did that change your opinion of how that fight might go?
It did, actually, yeah. I think Crawford's the favourite. Yeah, and I felt Spence was the favourite. I think Spence is struggling at 147. You know, I think that he's a big guy. He's always been tight at the weight, and now he's in a situation, you know, where he's going time and time again. He made some very interesting tweets on the Sunday saying, I'm never blowing up in camp before, which means that he put on a lot of weight and struggled to make the weight, you know. So, listen, he's a great fighter, Errol Spence, and a lot of big fights to come.
Well, we're talking about fights that should be easy to be made. Let's talk about some fights.
Those are the words of Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn takes on Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford. You know, of course we know Errol Spence, Shawn Porter delivered. Exciting, impactful, you know, lots of action, okay? But Eddie's words were, you know, because of how that fight went down, because of Shawn Porter's aggressiveness, and we seen that Errol Spence didn't handle Shawn Porter easily like he handled all his other opponents. Eddie Hearn now is favoring Crawford. And he says that Errol Spence is perhaps struggling to make weight at 147. You know, and the funny thing about what Eddie said in reference to what Crawford said, he says, when I stop Errol Spence, these are Crawford's words, when I stop Errol Spence, they're going to say, oh, he stayed at welterweight too long. Now think about what I just said by Crawford, and think about what Eddie just said about him having trouble making weight. Now, I'm not saying that's the truth, but we know the rumors. We know people have called Errol Spence weight bully. Errol Spence, you know, blowing up in weight after camps. I've seen this boy. We've all seen this boy. He has blown up. His face is this big, okay? He's been hanging out at the same fucking pub or bar or whatever, hot dog stand as Gervonta Tank Davis. You see what I'm saying? It like those guys blow up. They get really big in between training camps, which they don't look anything like welterweights. Errol Spence 4 weeks ago didn't look anything like a welterweight. He looked more like a middleweight. And he honestly looked like a guy that's getting older. You know, I know he's like 29 or whatever, you know, but he's looking like, when he blows up, he's looking like that guy that gets kind of middle age in his late 30s, 40s. You know what I'm saying? That's how he looks to me in between training camps. Now, he looked chiseled, chin, you know, his face slim and stuff like that before. However, you know, in between training camps, he looks totally opposite from that, you know. And the fight that people want to see is Crawford Spence, but of course, knowing what we know about that fight, it would be so convenient for Spence not to fight Crawford when everyone thinks Crawford would beat him. You see what I'm saying? It's so crazy and such a coincidence when you're dealing with a guy that when people, the public, they view a certain thing, they look at two different fighters, right? You got two different fighters. You got Spence, you got Porter, right? And, you got Spence, you got Crawford. And then when you got these two fighters, these guys are viewed at as the top or whatnot. But then the competition that they go through that kind of tweaks your perception of who you think will win, you know, and people really shouldn't do that. I know Eddie Hearn's done that, you know, with Errol Spence, but he did it for a particular reason. And I just counterpunched why earlier. But when you see people my thing is, I think people should give up the Al Heyman mentality and pick up the Roy Jones Jr. mentality. You know, his mentality was, I want to be the baddest MFer around. I don't want to be that guy that puts roadblocks or obstacles in front of a fight that I know that would be a challenge for me. You see what I'm saying? That's real. That was Roy Jones Jr. That's not what Errol Spence is doing. Errol Spence is trying to act flamboyant. He's trying to act like he's over Terence Crawford. He's trying to act like he doesn't sell tickets. He's trying to act like he doesn't exist. Okay, in order to duck him. And I'm sorry, that's how you have to look at him. Now you're willing to, you mentioned Danny Garcia. Yeah, you got options. But now you're talking about running it back with Shawn Porter. Okay, we know that. Cool. That's not a bad fight, but then it's not the ideal fight. Why are you trying to Deontay Wilder this shit? What are you trying to right your wrongs? You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't really add up to a moral standpoint, and and where you are in the sport, to show people you are the baddest MFer, you are the baddest man on the planet, or whatever, the man down, the strap season, a conqueror, that type of guy. It doesn't warrant any of that, and that's what I'm seeing with Errol Spence, and Eddie Hearn himself just really brought light on the weight. Maybe Errol Spence is, maybe he is having problems with that weight. Ask yourself this question: can he keep making weight at 147? I mean, I haven't, honestly, to be fair, I haven't seen anyone had problems making weight but Shawn Porter lately with the Danny Garcia, right? They had to chop off his hair for him to make weight. He made weight this time, but Errol Spence never had that problem. You know what I mean? But it is a rumor, okay? It is a rumor that maybe he is getting too big for the division. Maybe he's growing out of the division. When you start looking at fighters that are 2 weight classes above you, there's a good chance that you know that you can make that weight more easily than the weight that you're in. And that's my counterpunch on that. You guys tell me what you think about Eddie Hearn's comments. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.